Plus, hear a best of Clinton sports broadcast Saturday mornings at 10. All brought to you by Midstate Eye, Nan Craig with Remax Choice, the 217 Home Team, Warner Hospital and Health Services, and Liberty Village in Clinton.
You want to feel important.
You want to be part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things.
You want to feel like you belong.
We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it.
We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers.
We are normal people just like you. But our part-time service in the Army National Guard means we get to be more.
When our communities are in need, we get the chance to stand up and do something about it.
We get to serve in our own region and help the people we call neighbors.
From the lakeshores of Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota,
the fertile fields of Indiana, Illinois, and Iowa, to the wide open plains of North and South Dakota.
We are here for our hometowns.
And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Illinois Army National Guard. Aired by the Illinois Broadcasters Association and this station.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show is streaming to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in this segment of the WHOW Morning Show is State Senator Chapin Rose. Rose, morning, sir. How are you?
What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for taking time with us, as always. How's your summer been? You doing okay?
Yeah, it's been we've had some health issues in our family, but they're all resolved to the good. So
great.
But yeah, pretty well summer because of that. But,
excellent. Good to hear.
Everything's on the way now. So.
Good. Excellent. Yep. Well, Chapin, I'll tell you what. I mean, there's no shortage of things to talk about, and I think the biggest item of discussion, at least from a state level, is the migrants that are being bused from Texas up to Chicago. And the governor and Mayor Lightfoot, they have an issue with that. So what's your take on this situation, Chapin?
Well, my take is the hypocrisy of the left knows no bounds. I mean, these are the first people to go out and proclaim themselves sanctuary cities, and then they're the first to complain when they get what they ask for. It's like, okay, this is such a great idea. Then we start with you, and then wait, what do you mean you can't do this? Well, which is it, guys? And and then the further hypocrisy of the mayor of Chicago to complain that she lacked notice to coordinate efforts, and then no sooner than they showed up in Chicago, she turned around and sent them to the suburbs without telling the suburban mayors. And then the suburban's like, wait a minute, you gave us no notice. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, and frankly, it just underscores what the left has their head in the sand about, and that is the southern border is so porous. It's so easy to just walk in. Okay. And by the way, remember in the White House press secretary made fun of the notion that people just walk. He's like, well, that's not how that happens. Nobody just walks in. That's exactly how it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Madam Press Secretary. That's exactly how it happens. They just walk across the border. They cross a river and they're in the country, and that's it. And the problem is, the problem is you can't just have this massive influx with no coordination, no nothing. I mean, and then stick your hand in the sand and pretend that everything's going to go okay. So you got to tighten down the border. You've got to get immigration reform under control at the federal level, and under the U.S. Constitution, immigration is the purview of the federal government. But at the bottom line of it is, don't complain about something that you asked for. You want to be a sanctuary city? Great. Here you go.
Well, and Rose, isn't the governor, a part of the Hyatt hotel chain? I mean, doesn't he benefit from that? I mean, his family obviously owns it, so why not put some of these people
what
up
is
in
that angle? I don't know that. What angle are you talking about with Hyatt hotel chain?
Well, isn't his family the Hyatt hotel owners? And
yes.
Well, why don't we put them? Why don't we put them up in some of his hotels?
Oh, okay. Did that happen?
I don't know. Why don't we?
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I thought you were saying that it actually had happened.
No. I don't know if it has or not. Why don't we do that? He's connected to a large chain of hotels. Why don't we find some of those hotels to put him in?
Yeah. Look, there's a fundamental problem that America's cities have destroyed themselves, and there's so much outbound migration that without all this immigration, they would collapse, literally collapse over the last decade. Okay. So New York, Chicago, the rest of them, their outbound migration is so extreme that, without this huge influx of folks from out of the country. And by the way, it's not, people think that's, Mexico or South America. That's not entirely the case. Some of the biggest growing populations are Somali and some of the North African countries that have made it across the pond into the United States and immigrated to these cities. So, the cities literally, they're dying without this immigration. And so that's why the mayors and all these other, and the Democrat Party, which is largely the party of urban America, the city party, is so pro reckless immigration, and they just stick their head in the sand because without this influx of migrants, they die. Like literally, the cities die, the Democratic Party dies, and they know that. And so that is where they have gone over the last decade, actually really 2 decades, to try to stem this massive demographic problem that they have caused primarily by the mismanagement of their cities. If they were such a great place to live, people wouldn't be leaving, right? So, at the end of the day, this is a massive problem for the United States of America. It's a massive problem for Illinois and other states with big cities. But I would just simply point out to, bring us back to where we began, the sheer hypocrisy of these these suburban or these city mayors, these city-state mayors, Chicago, New York, et cetera, that proclaim themselves sanctuary cities to cozy up to the immigrant vote and turn out Democrat votes. And then they complain about the fact that, that they actually get what they asked for. I mean, it's just pure hypocrisy.
Do you foresee this impacting downstate Illinois, these people coming this way?
Well, let me give you a different example. It already has with a different group, the Afghan refugees. Okay, Biden sent a chunk of Afghan refugees to Decatur. He sent a chunk there's a group in Atwood. Okay, Atwood, Illinois. And I know I'm talking to people in Clinton, so they're going to ask, where's Atwood? Well, Atwood would be
northern Moultrie County, right?
Oh no, it's actually Piatt, and
it's southern Piatt. Okay, I didn't know if it was northern Moultrie or southern Piatt. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's technically in southern. It's actually split between Douglas and Piatt, in southern Piatt, and it's about like a Wapella, right? I mean, it's a smaller community,
right,
nice town, but they've got some Afghan refugees that showed up there. Now in Champaign, there's a family of, no one's really saying, but they're out panhandling on the streets, an entire family that's out panhandling on the streets in Champaign, that we've, the people have seen and noticed. And then when you ask any questions, like, oh, you can't ask those questions. Yeah, why not? So yeah, I mean, it is impacting everywhere. And I guess, your broader question is, once these folks show up and you got to put, all the services around them and give them all the free promises that the Democrats have made free everything, who pays for that? Well, who pays for that is DeWitt County, Illinois taxpayers, Piatt County, Illinois taxpayers. That's who pays for that, So, all this free health care and free this and free that, it all comes back to, the Illinois taxpayers. So yeah, it has a huge impact. But I'll just point out that sheer hypocrisy of these city-state mayors, oh, we're welcoming, we love everybody. Oh, wait, don't send us anybody.
Yeah.
Amazing.
State Senator Chapin Rose, our guest on the phone here for this morning. And Senator Rose, as we talk here, the safety legislation, this seems to be gaining a lot of momentum here as we get now down to single-digit weeks until the November election. Talk to me about the safety legislation. Like I said, a lot more people starting to take notice of this, particularly the law enforcement community becoming a bit more vocal on these things. So how about, and I know you and I have talked about this for some time, safety legislation. What are you hearing? And why is this all of a sudden gaining momentum?
Well, it's gaining momentum because it's the people of Illinois are upset about it, and J.B. Pritzker knows he's wounded, politically wounded, and this may be the only thing that can stop him from being, governor for a second term. And Darren Bailey's campaign had what I think is just a blistering commercial that aired last week in the Chicago area of a woman in Lakeview, which is a kind of a hotty-toddy upscale neighborhood, out for a walk, getting basically brutally assaulted by a group of thugs, and then it just simply asked the question, when is enough enough? And put it right to JB and right to Mayor Lightfoot, and when is enough enough? It's a damn good question. And so, of course, after that commercial came out, the Democrats did what the Democrats do. So they fired up their friends in the media to go out and try to pretend all is well. And the next thing you know, here comes, Channel 3 once again standing up for the criminal and not for the victim, and issues this, idiotic fact check. This is WCIA. Channel 3 issues this idiotic fact check. It was basically an opinion piece masquerading as a fact check, talking about how, there's nothing to worry about, there's nothing to fear, and in their own fact check, not even telling the truth about the Safety Act. So, the bottom line is we've already had cashless bail. It's been around for several years now in Cook County, and Cook County crime has gone up because Cook County went to cashless bail before the rest of the state did, and now these geniuses in the Democratic Party of Illinois are bringing cashless bail to the rest of the state, starting January 1. And, truthfully, if you think the crime is bad now, wait till that system gets in place. Again, this whole Safety Act, which prioritized the rights of criminals over victims, was wrong from the get-go. Just start with the facts, Seth, as you know and your listeners know. The Democrats passed this in the Senate, 760 plus page bill. They passed in the Senate at 4 o'clock in the morning with less than an hour's notice after it being filed. Okay. It was filed at 3 a.m. It began debate at 4 a.m. I think the vote was around 5 a.m. Okay. Well, if this is such a great idea, why didn't you do it during the daytime when the people of Illinois could look at it and see what was in it? They knew damn well what was in it. Their intent was to destroy the criminal justice system that actually supports victims, keeps our streets safe, supports our men and women in blue, and says, no, it doesn't support them. Just thank you to the men and women in blue who go out there every day to protect us. And instead, they bring us this system that, destroys the public safety in the state, makes our men and women in blue less safe when they do their jobs, walks away from the rights of the victims who are hurt by crime, and instead, prioritizes putting some pretty nasty people back on the streets. Also, we can, pretend that all is well, and and social justice. It's nonsense, and it was nonsense when they voted for it. It was nonsense when Governor Pritzker signed it, and you're just now. Listeners, does anyone think that someone accused of kidnapping should be allowed cashless bail to walk the streets awaiting trial? Does anyone think that someone accused of kidnapping with 13 prior failures to appear and 3 or 4 prior felony convictions for other crimes should be given cashless bail to walk the streets? Of course not. But if the state's attorney can't stand up and argue who an ongoing threat is, right? There's an ongoing threat to a specific person, then that person is going to get cashless bail. It's just the craziest system ever.
Well,
absolutely crazy.
And yeah,
and frankly, this is an aim to you, Seth, but you guys in the media that continue to stand up for and distort truth and call it fact is like Channel 3 did. And let's just remember Channel 3's history when they went out and celebrating the individual that literally executed Officer Oberheim. Okay. And they went out and celebrated Officer Oberheim's murderer. That's Channel 3. And, they're showing their colors, their true colors once again with this so-called fact check, which is some woke leftist, person's opinion who wrote the story, and it is anything but fact.
Rose, I'll tell you what, anything else on the Safety Act you want to offer up this morning?
Yeah, I look, citizens of Illinois, you guys get to decide this, in 2 months. So, if you guys think the streets are safe, then, by all means, J.B. Pritzker deserves a second term.
State Senator Chapin Rose on the phone with us this morning. We'll take a time out here, come back with some more on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Thursday. I'm Jim Taylor for the RFD Radio Network. Corn opening slightly higher, beans slightly lower, and wheat starting the day slightly higher. December corn 686 up 3 3/4. March corn up 3 3/4, 691. May corn 691.5. That's up 3 1/4. November beans 14.53 down 2 pennies. January beans down 1 3/4. 14.59 1/4. March beans 14.59 3/4, down 1.5 pennies. December wheat 8.74.5 up 2 1/4. March wheat up 1.5 pennies, 8.89.5. May wheat up 0.5 penny, 8.97.5. October bean meal 432.60 up $3, and October bean oil down 77 cents, 66.37. In the energy market, October crude oil 86.69 down $1.79. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
Baum Chevrolet Buick also has transportation options in Farmer City. This is Scott Baum. Baum Motor Company in Farmer City has been open since 2002. We have used cars and trucks, SUVs and crossovers to fit your transportation needs. We also have a convenient service option for maintenance and repairs, plus trailer sales and trailer rentals. Come see Chase Stevenson, Taylor Kennedy for sales, and Matt French for service. Baum Motor Company in Farmer City, right from the start.
MR Systems Wireless is your local internet provider for Clinton and surrounding area. They have the products you want and the local service you deserve. MR Systems Wireless Internet service for home or business includes unlimited data, unlimited streaming, and unlimited calling. Plans start at just $48 a month and get a free Roku 4 lease with our media packages. Get the speed you need with MR Systems Wireless. Call them at 935-2100. That's 935-2100 for MR Systems Wireless.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show is streaming to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. State Senator Chapin Rose on the phone with us here for today. And, Chapin, we were talking in the break a little bit about, you talked about the ad that aired, and I think in the Chicagoland area. It aired during the Bears game on Sunday. That's what I heard, and a lot of people responding to that ad you were talking about that highlighted the woman, and I can't remember the neighborhood in Chicago, but she was broad daylight was mugged and robbed. And how about the response to that ad from Mayor Lightfoot, Governor Pritzker? They've been talking about that this week. What have you heard from them?
Yeah, this is the sort of scary part about where democracy's at now. You can no longer debate policy, because when you disagree with, the Democrats in power, and you say, hey, this is not a good idea, and this is why, and you list the reasons why it's not a good idea, they don't respond with a debate on the issue. They respond by calling you names, right? All the isms and iss and this and that, right? because they can't debate the merits. They can't debate the merit of the issue because, frankly, you're right. So they just call you a name, right? And then they attempt to, put you in a box over in a corner where because you've been called this name, then therefore anything else you say from that point forward is of no relevance, right? And it's pretty amazing. And you look at our universities now. You have rational people on university campuses that are too afraid to speak their mind because if they get labeled, they'll be canceled, right? And it all comes back to the cancel culture. So it is interesting when you look at which party is engaging in actual policy debate and which party is just engaging in sort of, name calling. It really comes down to Republicans have ideas and the Democrats, if you disagree with them, just, attempt to cancel you and throw you in the ash heap of history. And it's pretty amazing. But when you actually show them, in the case of the ad you referenced, when you actually show them the impact of their policies, okay, this brutal mugging in Lakeview of Chicago, and you put it out there and that's it. It's a fact, right? That happened. That was real. They go crazy. They go absolutely crazy because how dare you question them? And then they have no response because it's real and it's factual. So they respond by calling you names, right? And it's just sort of amazing to me that this is like that democracy is diluted to such a point where name calling is effective.
Well, and that
among rational people, frankly,
yeah,
among university people aren't stupid, but they're the worst. They're the worst name callers.
Well, and like this was kind of the last thing I said to you before we came on the air. When did we become a society where words hurt us? You know what I mean? And and I'm not talking about your wife says something to you and it hurts your feelings and that impacts your day or your relationship or whatever. Like that's a little different, I feel like. But just someone you don't know, whether it's on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or Snapchat or whatever social media thing you want to use, or just someone in the public eye, you don't have any idea who they are. They call you a name and you're offended by that. You know what I mean? Like where did that shift happen? And I feel like we've just let that overtake us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, yes, it does. And I think that I remember one of my kids had to do this project in like 3rd or 4th grade to do a video for anti-bullying video. Okay, and I thought that's great. They're going to do a video on anti-bullying. And I saw it, and the theme was words hurt. Okay, we're not teaching our kids that sticks and stones will break your bones, but words will never hurt you. We're actively teaching our children today to be offended, to be hurt, to be marginalized, to be anything other than self-sufficient and independent. Okay. That's what's being taught. Words hurt. Well, if you start with a 3rd grader and constantly browbeat to them that they're not good enough, that they should be offended, that whatever was said about them was terrible, you're going to raise a person that can't handle real life because real life isn't politically correct. Real life comes with problems and pitfalls and offensive people and, situations that you'd rather not be in, but somehow you got in anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And if you teach people to be self-sufficient and independent and have the heart and the head to handle adverse situations, you're going to be a healthy society. If you teach people to, fold their cards, cut and run and, go into some, psychological, pit because of what someone said about you, you're going to have problems. Right. And as a society, the more we've listened to the so-called experts tell us how to teach our kids, the worse it's gotten, right? I mean, it's just like every iteration of this that comes along, it's added to it, and it's just gotten progressively worse. And, you want to, it comes back to this, you want to teach a man to fish or do you want to give a man a fish? Right. And I truly believe the modern Democratic Party just wants to give them a fish so that they can stay in control.
Rose, let's end it there, my friend. Hang with me on the line for just a minute. I'll catch up with you off the air for just a second. State Senator Chapin Rose on the phone with us here for this morning. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Network news on the way on the morning show.
WHOW.
The Big 1520 W.